Damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
What do YouTube? B Kelly back again with another banger video, and in today's video, y'all, I'm going to be talking about what happened to the top 5 all-time non-Power 5 recruits. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm only going to focus on the teams in the non-Power 5 conferences and not independent teams like BYU, UConn, UMass, etc. Because if I include a team like BYU, I have to include a team like Notre Dame because they are technically independent. But I'm only going to focus on non-Power 5 conferences, like I said, and for this video, I am using the 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings. Now let's get on to the list. Coming in at number 5 all-time from the 2014 recruiting class was safety Dylan Sumner Gardner. Now in the 2014 recruiting class, he ranked as a 4-star recruit, the 86th best player in the nation, the number 7 safety, and the number 11 player from Texas, and a 4-star recruit. He held offers from schools such as Clemson, Texas A&M, Auburn, and Baylor, just to name a few, but he would end up going to Boise State. Going into his first season as a member of Boise State's football team, Dylan had a lot of hype surrounding his name, and it was rightfully so. He was their highest recruit in school history, and people were raving about what he was doing in Texas at the high school level, and many thought that he was going to be the next great Boise State Bronco legend. And it was honestly rightfully so, as this guy was a star in high school, and he was the most highly touted player to ever commit to Boise State. Now, in his true freshman season in 2014, he played in 13 games and was primarily a backup, as in those 13 games, he recorded 19 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 pass deflections. As a sophomore in 2015, he would play in the first 4 games of that season before suffering a season-ending injury, where he had 14 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass deflection. For 2016, as a redshirt sophomore, he was looking pretty good, as in 6 games played, he had 29 tackles, half a tackle for loss, and 1 interception, and was having his best season yet, even though he was still dealing with some problems with injuries. But he would be dismissed from Boise State at the end of this season due to violating team rules, having some off-the-field issues, and academic issues. Dylan Sumner Gardner has not played any college football since being dismissed from Boise State's football team in the end of the 2016 college football season. Coming in at number 4 is from the 2001 recruiting class, and that's none other than defensive back Duron Johnson. Now, Duron Johnson in the 2001 recruiting class, according to 24/7 Sports Composite Rankings, was a 4-star recruit, the number 70 player in the nation, and the number 8 cornerback in the nation as well, and he would end up going to Memphis. As a true freshman at Memphis in 2001, he would be a wide receiver appearing in 3 games for the Tigers, but would not record a single reception in 2001 and did miss several weeks due to an injury in his back. And in 2002, he sat out the season due to academic issues and having to concentrate on that, and would also miss the spring of 2002 while trying to improve in the classroom, and after that season, he would actually go to the JUCO route. After spending a couple seasons at the JUCO level, he would eventually come back to Memphis for 2005 for his final year of college eligibility as a senior, and in the 2005 college football season, he played in 10 of the 12 games, primarily as a special teams player. Also, quick side note, I do know the photos I'm using while I'm talking about Duron Johnson is not actually him, but I cannot find a decent quality photo of him on the internet, since everything of him is from the very early 2000s, and he was primarily a backup in college due to having to focus more on the academic side. Then when he was finally back with Memphis, he was primarily a special teams player. Coming in at number 3 all time from the 2012 recruiting class is wide receiver Deontay Greene. Now, Deontay Greene in the 2012 recruiting class ranked as a high 4-star recruit, the 42nd best player in that class, and the 4th best receiver as well. And he held offers from schools such as Arizona State, Notre Dame, USC, and Cal, just to name a few, but he would go to Houston. In Deontay's freshman campaign at Houston, he would play in 12 games in 2012, recording 47 receptions for 569 yards, averaging 12 yards per reception, and 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty solid season if you ask me. Some people were probably expecting him to do a little more, but it's still a pretty solid season for a first-year freshman. But Houston would not be the best team this season as they would go 5-7. As a sophomore in 2013, he would have a big season as he would record 82 receptions for 1,202 receiving yards, averaging almost 15 yards per reception and 11 total touchdowns through the air. He had a really good season, and this would be his best year at the collegiate level. In the 2014 college football season, as a junior, he was expected to have a really big season and to have the best season of his college career yet, coming off of a huge sophomore campaign and going into his junior year with a lot of momentum. But he would actually kind of have a down season, even though it was still a pretty good season overall. It just wasn't really anything like his sophomore campaign in 2013. Now, as a junior, he played in 13 games, recording 72 receptions for 841 yards, averaging 12 yards per reception and 6 touchdowns. He would declare his name after this season, forgoing his final year of eligibility at Houston, declaring his name for the 2015 NFL Draft, where he went undrafted. In the 2015 NFL season, he would be on both the Cowboys and Seahawks practice squad, but after 2015, that was really the end of his NFL career on practice squads at all. Now, coming up at number 2 from the 2005 recruiting class, we have Leon Jackson. Now, Leon Jackson ranked as a 4-star recruit, the 45th best player in the nation, and the number 1 athlete as well. Now, he would actually originally commit to Nebraska, and he was actually there for a couple seasons where he really did not see any action at all, and he would eventually transfer to Hawaii. Leon Wright Jackson would spend 3 seasons in total at Hawaii, and he only started really in 1 season as a redshirt senior in 2009, where he rushed for 554 yards, averaging 7.5 yards per carry and 7 touchdowns. In his college football career, he rushed for a total of 875 rushing yards, 6.5 yards per carry, and 10 total touchdowns on the ground. Coming in at number 1 all-time for top 5 non-Power 5 recruits is none other than Ed Oliver from the 2016 recruiting class. Now, Ed Oliver was a 5-star recruit and the number 6 player in the nation and number 3 defensive tackle as well. And obviously, he held offers from some of the top schools in the nation, but decided to go to Houston. Ed Oliver at Houston was an immediate impact player. He was a starter all 3 years that he was at Houston. Now, in 2016, in his true freshman campaign in 12 games played, he had a monster season where he had 65 total tackles, 22 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. In 2017, as a sophomore, he played in 12 games yet again, where he had 73 total tackles, 16.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, as well as a fumble recovery. As a junior at Houston in 2018, he had a highly productive season despite only playing in 8 games, where he had 54 total tackles, 14.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. He would declare early for the 2019 NFL Draft, and in the 2019 NFL Draft, he was taken with the 9th overall pick in the first round by the Buffalo Bills. Now, some of the awards and accomplishments that he had coming out of college was that he was the 2017 AAC Defensive Player of the Year, a 2017 Consensus All-American, 2017 John Outland Trophy Award recipient, and a 2018 Consensus All-American. Ed Oliver has played in the NFL for 2 total seasons so far, both with the Buffalo Bills. As a rookie, he started in 7 of the 16 games he played in, recording 43 total tackles, 5 sacks, and a total of 1 forced fumble. In 2020, he started all 16 games for the Buffalo Bills, where he had 33 total tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble. Well guys, now that I'm at the end of the video, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly out.